Okay, we're back. Didn't really learn how to pause the video, so we had to save it and publish it, so at least it'll be in smaller doses. We can keep practicing along. So next one that we're going to work on, members, is our stances, something we can all do at home and something that's very, very important because like everything, we have to have a foundation. So we start off at the ground and we work all the way up. So parallel stance, again, very simple. We did this earlier on with our punches. We just practice. So making sure that the feet are not pointing out. And I don't think anybody ever does it with the feet pointing in because that's really, really uncomfortable. But just finding out what your parallel stance is. Remembering it's related to you. Don't look at anybody else's stances because they might be standing a little bit wider. It depends on your own body shape. So while we have time at home, now is a great opportunity to lie on the ground, get somebody out and mark off exactly the width of your shoulder. So once you have the width of your shoulder marked out on the ground with a bit of tape, you can now line up your feet to it. And remember, so from parallel stance, this is the basis of all the other stances that we do. So the next one that we will practice is walking stance, where we place one leg behind. What we'll notice is, from here, the leg has just gone straight back. So that shoulder width, that distance that we had width-wise, still remains the same. Now from here, important part, we bend that leading knee. Body is upright, and we have 1.5 times our shoulder width between our 2 feet. That's a kind of a guideline to what we do. So if we're here and we go back, this can't be right because there's no way is that 1.5 times my shoulder width. And again, likewise, this can't be right because that's way bigger than my shoulders and it makes it difficult for me to move. So it is very, very important that we find out what that is, use that measuring that we did with a little bit of tape, and then practice. Placing one leg back, come forward, placing the other leg back. You will notice on the back foot, it doesn't turn. Don't have it turned out. Try and keep it as much forward as possible. It will be off by a little bit. I won't go into angles and degrees, but a small bit. So not here. Try and get that right around. The more straight you can make it, the better it is for the stance. And again, then it allows us to move forward. So from there, while we practice our stance, then we can introduce some sine wave. So from here, we go down, holding the position. So remembering, as we go down, the back foot should still be behind. As we transition through the standing foot, that's where we rise up. So rise up, and again remember, when we do rise up, it's only about 80%. We don't straighten that back leg, that never comes all the way up. So we transition through the center, and then we land all the way back down on the far side. So very, very important. We don't need an awful lot of space, something that we could do easily at home. So next one then will be L stance. So similar, we have our parallel stance, we turn our foot, and then it goes forward. So this is also 1.5 times our shoulder width, but this is between the outside of our front foot and the inside of our back foot, or thereabouts, yeah, so it's very, very close to it. 70% of our weight sits on the back leg, so we are sitting back. Don't lean back, very important that we don't lean the body back, because that's you're taking all the control of your body. So push the hip. Use the hip and then drive it back. So in between your hip, your knee and your foot, it's all in one kind of line. So 70% of the weight in the back leg, and again the remaining 30% on the front leg. I was just trying to show the shape. So your front knee is bent over your heel, doesn't go beyond it, and it doesn't come behind. So it's just slightly over your heel. Again, good stance, makes it easy to do. Practice our waist twist from here. So earlier on we practiced our sine wave and our walking stance. Now we're going to practice our waist twist. So turn the hip, rotate. Turn the hip, rotate. Using your hands will help you to figure out what that angle is. So if we start here and we end up doing this, yeah, that's not enough. So we have to turn right around. So we sit down into the technique. You'll notice that your front shoulder and your front hip will be ever so slightly lower than your back shoulder. So here, we're in the neutral position, then we push back ever so slightly. So that means we're getting downward motion on a lot of the techniques that we're trying to generate power to. So from there, go through that exercise. Twist, twist. Some very good exercise to do with a bit of music as well, because then you don't look as silly sitting in your kitchen or standing in your kitchen. You can just get some music and dance along with it. Changing legs as we go along. Sitting stance we touched on earlier on. And one of the great things about sitting stance will build up your quad muscles at the top of your legs for free just by standing there. So once you get into your stance, pointing your feet straight in front, then just sit down. If you then want to go that little step further, put your back against the wall and then squat down even more, trying to keep your back straight as much as possible. And again, you'll feel all that muscles working out in your legs, which is very, very important. Okay, so that's a little bit of our stances. Something that we should always be practicing, and I only touched on, the 4 basic ones that we do. There are lots of other stances. Some of our senior grades, like our green belts up, should be starting to use rear foot stance, vertical stance, and some of the other ones that we do. So again, just keep practicing. Get that little bit of tape on the ground, and then you'll be able to repeat what you're doing. So it should just be from here all the way back. And what happens is then, once you get used to it, that you don't have to look at the bit of tape anymore, it becomes muscle memory. The body remembers what a walking stance feels like, and then we go back. One important thing for our junior members, as we grow, our stance will get bigger. So we can't stand there from this and have, this was my stance back when I was 6 years of age, which it probably was. But I've got a little bit bigger since then, so it has to develop and grow with us as we go. Okay. So once we've practiced our stances, we've now gone through the hand position for some of our blocks and our punches and all. The next thing we're going to do is acceleration. So from there, to do acceleration, very, very simple. We can go back into either our L stance, we can go back into a sitting stance. It makes no difference. So what we're going to do, we're going to lift one of the feet off the ground ever so slightly. That's going to put pressure on the body to be fast. Because if I just do this, without transferring my body weight, if I just lift it up and then drop it down, my hands now have to generate an awful lot of speed to finish at the same time. So let's say we're going to do outer forearm low block. So from there, so you'll notice I'm not worried about the technique so much, I'm more worried about the acceleration. So my hands have to travel much faster than my feet, because all I'm doing is lifting my foot off the ground. And that will help us accelerate the speed into some of the techniques. Again, you will feel after doing maybe 10 or 15 of them on each side, you will start getting up a bit of a sweat, which is good, because now that means that we're putting in the power into the techniques. It's not something that we're letting, we're just trying to use all our muscles and all to do it. We are using all the Taekwondo parts to be able to generate power. So Mr. Murray's going to come out at an appropriate social distance. We are then going to go through 4-directional punch and 4-directional block. Take one. So all we're doing, members, again, I know that we don't have an awful lot of space at home. All we need is about 1.5 meters in a circle, which you'll be able to do. And as we're going through this, then we'll go through the motion. So don't necessarily be worried about your technique and the power at the start. We can then build that up as we practice. This is just about repetition. The more we do it, the better it's going to get. Okay, so we'll go through the motion. Hana. Do. Turn. Kick. Set. Down. Punch. Hassa. Yes. Heel. Yodo. Back in parallel. Sure. So very important as we're doing that, pay attention to waist twist. So we go from our punch, up, back. We get that waist twist as we come in. Transitioning from the punch to the block, hand position starts correct. Remember, if it uses the outside of our arm, it starts on top. Then we go down. Then we go for our sine wave, that exercise we did earlier on. The down, the foot's back. We transition through the center, and then we drop down to the opposite side. So just key little things that we have to work on. Now we go on the left-hand side. It should be Hana. Do. Set. Hassa. Yes. Heel. Back in parallel. And show. And as I know some of you at home are probably just getting into the fun of this, I nominate Mr. Murray as the winner there, because I'm completely out of breath now and wasn't my best patron. So go through them, practice them as much as you can. Like you saw when we were doing it, we are literally just pivoting one foot. So you don't need an awful lot of space. If we are using social distancing correct, you'll notice that even by doing this, I still don't get any closer to Mr. Murray. This will help keep us at distance. So if there are more than one of you at home doing the pattern, make sure that you have enough space, or just do it one at a time. It's so much easier to do. Next one that we're going to do, members, now is 4-directional block. Sajumaki. Ready? Jubi. So back on the right leg. Hana. Do. Set. Net. Tassa. Yasa. Ido. Yodo. And back in power. Sure. So 2 little things on our 4-directional block. First move, Sunkalna Junde Maki. So when we go out of forearm low block, remember the block is slightly up higher. When we do knife hand low block, the arm is almost straight. There is a bend, but almost straight. For blocking a different part of the foot, if somebody's doing a front smashing kick, it's for blocking a different part of the foot. Okay, next one, Anpamo Kawunde Maki. Making sure it's a middle block, don't have it too high, and then we get hit, don't have it too low, same thing. We're not defending ourselves. So keep it up, tops of your knuckles should be roughly in line with your shoulders, and in the front of your knuckle should be roughly in line with your toes. So if you have a wall, or if you have anywhere to practice, toes in, you should be able to get it fairly okay. Another exercise for middle block, because we should have 90 degrees of a bend on our arm, put a book in. Not going to be able to read it at the same time, but put a book in. For those high-tech people, if you have an iPad and that's what you read, please don't put your iPad in, because if it falls and breaks, I don't want to be responsible. So one of your school books that we don't really care about, make sure that we put it in, and it will show you that 90-degree angle. That's very important on our block. Okay, last one, we go on to the left-hand side. It should be Hana. Do. Set. Net. Passa. Yes. Here we go. Go. Back in power. And shut. Relax. So in the comment section, members, if you find that myself or Mr. Murray were making mistakes, please point them out, because every day is a training day. Every day is a day we're willing to learn. We may know the techniques, but like you, we haven't been training in about a week and a half, so a little bit rusty. So as a friendly competition, if you want to vote who was the best, I'm sure it was Mr. Murray, or just put some comments in the bottom. So like I posted during the week, if anybody has photographs of themselves training at home, anybody has videos, please by all means just send them to me. You don't have to put them up onto Facebook. I can share my email address on this post. I'll share my WhatsApp number. So anybody wants to send me some stuff, I can review it. I can post comments to yourself directly, and with your permission, if you want to put them up onto Facebook or any social media, we can. Because again, at this time, it's very good to be able to share with other people about what we're doing. Should never be shy. We're doing techniques. If we're doing it wrong, it's always better to be corrected than it is to be sitting there hoping that you're doing it right. Remember, a very important thing, if you're doing techniques wrong and you continuously do them wrong, it'll take a long time to correct them. So the best thing to do when you get correction is start working on that straight away, and then you will start finding that it gets easier and your body just remembers what it needs to do. So none of us are beyond correction. I get corrected all the time by my senior members and by my junior members. So it's always great to see like white belts, yellow belts, green belts holding me accountable for my techniques as much as I hold you. So it is very much a two-way streak. So that kind of comes to the end of that part of the video. The last little bit we will do is just some strength and conditioning exercises. So some of these very simple. We don't need an awful lot of space, and I know we all love some of these. So from there, the simple one, hands straight out, that we're working on our balance. So this one can be good for multiple things. One, it can be for your concentration, that we're not thinking of the arms, that we're just standing there just relaxing, but yet we are developing the muscles in our shoulders and our arms. And it will again increase the speed of our punches and our techniques. So if this is too easy for some of us, then like I said at the start, pick up a weight. If we don't have weights, pick up a tin of soup or a tin of beans or some flour or rice or whatever it is, and then just hold it in your hands. And again, that will just make it that little bit harder. Start off at 30 seconds, then take a relax. Then go back up again, maybe hold it for another 30 seconds. Try and work on that we can then hold it and go for like a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, and keep going. So push yourself to the best of whatever we can do. So similarly on that one, then we go to plank. So plank is like a total body workout to be able to control our body position. Now what's very important is I'm going to turn sideways and Mr. Murray's going to point straight forward just so we can show the different angles of plank. So from there we go down, elbows onto the ground and then flat. What's very, very important is your body's not up this way and we're not like this either. So there's no point in cheating at this one. Keep the body as flat as you can and relax the head and the neck. So great thing here, either if you have an iPad or you have a phone or a book, put it down in front of you to try and distract you. So if your parents are good enough to let you play with their phone for a few minutes, maybe this is a good time to put the phone down on the ground and watch a bit of YouTube, or maybe even watch this video over again. So just from there, hold that position. Like I said, 15 seconds can be hard. Then we build it up, we go to 30 seconds, and then try and go all the way up. I think if you make it to a minute, that's exceptional, and anything beyond that is just crazy. But again, by all means, push yourself to your limits. So making this a little bit more fun, we can go into certain exercises where we rotate. We go from there and we just pat the hands up and down. Okay, just going through some all different angles. Going up into a push-up position, holding the hands, again is fine. That will then lead us into the next one then, where we do our push-ups, up and down. And the one thing that you'll notice is they're slow. There's no point in doing push-ups fast. Do them nice and slow. And again, if we can only do 5, that's perfect. Try and work on 5, maybe then go to 6 or 7. So last one then, you go onto your back. We just do a few sit-ups. So from there, nice and easy. Always keep your hands up. Don't have your hands behind your head, pulling your head. Like I say in class all the time, having a six-pack on the back of your neck is not as attractive as having that six-pack in your stomach. So from there, lift up and then down. Lift up and then down. One more, up and then down. Bring it into different variations, straightening your legs out. You can just go all the way up and all the way back. You can lift your feet up, same thing, with the hands and then down. So loads of different variations of stomach exercise we can do. If you have a chair, lift your feet, put them on a chair. If you have somebody at home and you find this hard, let them stand on your feet. Again, just you come up, touching your hands up and down. So very important, give your whole body a bit of a workout. If you do this maybe once a day, look back over this video. We'll try and publish a few more, specifically some more of the senior patterns. So for those people that are planning on grading for any of their colour belts, or those members that are going for their black belts or the follow-on degrees, we'll try and go through some videos for that. So again, appreciate everybody's time this morning. Appreciate Mr. Murray. Hopefully this worked out. We'll be reading some of the comments. And again, if the quality was bad, just let us know and we'll try and improve it for next time. Okay, ready? Cheerio. Taekwon-Do.
Taekwon-Do.
Cheerio. Cheerio. Thank you.